it. It is so awesome. It comes together in seconds. The Parmesan cream sauce is just so... Did you just take your shirt off? It is time to get cooking. I'm Jackie Saldana, and I've been creating simple and delicious recipes on my website for more than 10 years with my family. And now I'm inviting you into my kitchen to come cook along with me while I show you how to easily create weeknight dinners, decadent desserts, and everything tasty in between. I keep it real, and most importantly, I keep it simple. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on our weekly videos. And now, let's see what we're making today. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie. If you are new here, welcome. If you've been here before, I am so glad that you're back. Today we are here with a brand new recipe video. I am making garlic knots with Parmesan cream sauce. So we're working with instant yeast. We're gonna do 1 teaspoon of honey. We're gonna add in the warm water, stir here, and I'm gonna let this sit for 10 minutes. Last year, during 2020, everyone was making sourdough bread. People were making banana bread left and right. I jumped on the banana bread train too, but I learned how to make my own pizza dough, and this dough is incredible. It comes together super fast, super easy. I'm challenging you to try this dough recipe and let me know how it goes. All right, check this out. It's been blooming here for 10 minutes. It looks perfect. So at this point, we're gonna add 2.5 cups of flour. Now, I'm using all-purpose flour. You could get away with using whole wheat flour. You can even use gluten-free flour if you have it on hand. All right, and now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. We're gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I've got my dough hook here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix this on low, and as soon as it becomes a dough ball, as soon as you start to see the dough forming, set a timer for 5 minutes, and you're gonna let the mixer knead the dough. So right at this point, you're gonna set a 5-minute timer. All right, so the 5-minute timer just went off. The dough looks beautiful. Come here. You want the dough to just easily be removed from the bowl. You see that? This is perfection. It's nice and squishy. We're gonna get some flour. I'm gonna toss it over here. At this point, you could stretch it out and make yourself a yummy pizza dough, but we're gonna do garlic knots. All right, so we've got my baking sheet here, and I've got a silicone baking mat on here. If you don't have a silicone baking mat, you need one. These are awesome. If you don't have one, you can also use parchment paper, or you can grease this up with a little bit of olive oil. But we've got our silicone baking mat here. This is gonna help the garlic knots not stick. And I'm gonna get my pizza cutter out. I'm gonna dip it a little bit in some flour. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're literally just going to slice the dough. And you're gonna cut, I don't know, what would you call this? Maybe like a 1/2 inch or so. So while you're cutting this, you wanna make them all sort of the same size. That's kind of thin. Because once you wrap them up and you put them on the baking sheet, you want them to cook all at the same time. If some are smaller than others, then those are gonna cook faster and maybe burn, whereas the bigger ones might be kind of doughy still on the inside. So you wanna really make sure you cut these and have them all relatively be the same size. After you're done cutting them, you're gonna sort of just make a snake, you know, like when you were in kindergarten and you're using Play-Doh. You make a little snake, and really, really simple here. You're going to tie it in a knot. Now, if you didn't want garlic knots, you could totally just do breadsticks here, but there's some novelty funness in a garlic knot. So once you get your knot, you place it on the baking sheet and you keep going. And then we're gonna make a Parmesan cream sauce. And that is where you are all gonna fall in love with me, because you're gonna make that Parmesan cream sauce, and we're gonna dip the garlic knots in the Parmesan cream sauce. But if you love pasta and you love cream sauce, you can also use the Parmesan cream sauce to make it into a yummy pasta dish. But anyways, yum, yum, yum. Before we put them in the oven, we're gonna just brush them a little bit with olive oil. All right, so we're gonna finish up brushing these with olive oil. All right, so we're gonna put them in the oven at 400 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer depending on your oven, because you want them nice and golden on the outside, but when you break one open, you want it to be nice and fluffy on the inside. All right, so you ready? All right, so while the garlic knots are in the oven baking away, we're gonna be making garlic butter. Very, very simple. The first thing we're gonna do is add about 7 tablespoons of super, super soft butter. I like to use unsalted butter because you can control the salt content, right? So if you use salted butter, you don't really get to control how much salt goes into your recipe. So if you use salted butter and the recipe calls for salt, then it might end up being too salty. So that's kind of a little kitchen tip. Always use unsalted butter. Unsalted butter. And look at this. You see how soft this is? I left the butter out overnight. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 3 1/4 teaspoons of oregano, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I'm gonna mix this up. I'm gonna do probably about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic because I like it nice and garlicky, but you can get away with doing just 3. All right, so now we're gonna add some garlic. Hi, Mila, and we have Lily on set. Hi, Lily. This is so much fun. We're gonna mix our garlic butter. All right, so we're gonna put this garlic butter off to the side. Woof. We're gonna wait for our garlic knots to be done baking, but in the meantime, I'm gonna get all the ingredients I need to make that Parmesan cream sauce. I'm so excited. The garlic knots came out of the oven and they look perfect. Look how cute these little guys are. They're perfectly golden brown on the outside and they're nice and fluffy on the inside. Let me show you. Let me see. Oh yeah, baby. Woo! So while these guys are nice and warm, we're gonna take our garlic butter that we just made and we're just going to use our spatula here and we're going to smother them in the garlic butter. The garlic butter is gonna melt nicely all over, but these are so good. I promise you, your family is going to love these as is. Just like this, hot, fresh from the oven. You can make these if you're having pasta night, or even if you're just making a giant big Caesar salad or whatever kind of salad, these would go great alongside that. I think what I love most about this dough is that it's crispy on the outside and it's nice and fluffy on the inside. It's got a little hint of sweetness from the honey and it's just perfect. So we could totally stop the video here. I just taught you how to make garlic knots. They're perfect, they're delicious. They're smothered in garlic butter. I'm gonna show you how to make Parmesan cream sauce that you can dip these into and just ramp up the flavor even more. And you can also add pasta to the Parmesan cream sauce and make a little pasta dish if you wanted to. So we have moved things over to the stove. We're gonna get cracking on that Parmesan cream sauce. It's very simple to put together. So I'm doing this in my Dutch oven, but you can also use a large deep skillet. I'm gonna start melting our butter here. So we've got 1/4 cup of butter. We're gonna melt it down with 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And we're gonna just melt this down, whisk it all together. Once it all comes together, you're gonna whisk, 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 and then it's gonna start turning this really nice goldeny brown, and what we're making is what's called a roux, R-O-U-X. And that's gonna make the Parmesan cream sauce get nice and thick and creamy. So the roux is a very important part, very fun step, and it usually takes about a minute or 2. We're gonna slowly add in our heavy cream. We're gonna try to just continuously mix here. We're gonna add in our 1/4 cup of milk. Ooh, it's gonna be so creamy and yummy. We're gonna add in 1 ounce of cream cheese. Whoop, okay, gotta clean that up. And then we're gonna slowly mix this in until the cream cheese melts in. I'm gonna add in our Parmesan. And the Parmesan is what's gonna make it our Parmesan cream sauce. It's also gonna give it a nice, salty, cheesy bite. And then I'm also gonna add in salt and pepper to taste. So you can do a pinch or so of salt. You don't need too much because the Parmesan is very salty. And I always like black pepper and Parmesan. But this thickness right here is perfect because I'm gonna remove the heat. We're gonna dip it, we're gonna use it as a dipping sauce. This would also be perfect consistency if you were gonna use it on a pizza, if you wanted to do like a white pizza. So stinking good. Yum. All right, now comes the final taste test. I've got my garlic knot here. I'm going to bust it open and dunk it in my cheese sauce. I'm sorry. Let me know down below in the comments if you are willing to try this out, if you are a fan of garlic knots and creamy cheese sauce. I feel like most people are, but I don't know, this is gonna be so good. I can't wait for you guys to try it out. I'm gonna sit and devour these. The girls are gonna be wanting some of this, the cheese sauce, probably mixed with some noodles for them. Holy moly, this is so good. If you liked this recipe, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. It really helps us out, and I will see you next time. Bye. Oh my gosh.